everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the fabulous, the wonderful, the gorgeous new Freeguild Marshall and Relic Envoy as part of the Cities of Sigmar army set, which was sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you. And I absolutely adore this guy. He's so cool. Look at him. He's such an awesome dude. And, well, I'm very excited to paint this one because it's one of those ones where you kind of just get to do whatever you like. I mean, you can just do whatever you like, really. But we've got a Hammerhal Aqsha scheme that we're going for here. And we're going to be kind of just using some oranges and some reds and a bit of yellow here and there. So this is going to be some elements that you can use for the box art version of this. But there's so many different combinations and variations that, well, the choice is yours entirely. But this is how I'm going to paint mine up. And, well, we're just going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. He has been primed, or rather they have both been primed in grey sear. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the Marshall first, and then we will do the Relic Envoy afterwards. So, the colour we're going to be using first here is Baal Red. I'm going to be applying this all over the top of his cloak. So with that Baal Red all applied, it's still drying at the moment, that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this to the front of the shield. And with both of those reds applied and drying, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange. We're going to apply this over the top of the inside cloth. It's got this kind of stuff going on his legs and his sleeves. And with that done, it's now once again back to Blood Angels Red because I forgot to do the wood on the inside of our shield. As part of Hammerhal Aqsha. That is unforgivable. So with that all done, what we're going to do now, and it might seem a little bit early in the process, but what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of his plate armour. avoiding the trim where possible, but don't worry too much if you do get this on there. And what we'll also do with this Leadbelcher is we'll apply this over the top of the sword as well. So with all that Leadbelcher applied, it'll make sense in just a minute. But before we get to that, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of any leather that we might have. So we've got the boots, the gloves, his motorcycle. With that Cygor Brown all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of that trim on the armour and the lower half of the trim on the shield. And the only part of the trim that we're not going to do is the large skull in the middle of the breastplate. So with that Black Legion all applied to all of those details, what we're then going to do is take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to apply this all over the top of his face. And with that Guilliman Flesh applied, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the large diamond here in the middle of the shield. We're going to apply this over the top of his hair and beard, and we're going to apply it over the top of his brooch. With that Skeleton Horde all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the top of the chainmail. As well as the little clasps. On the shield. So with that Iron Warriors applied, we actually applied it to the gems on the sword, on the brooch, and on the shield as well. And what we're going to do, we also did it to the outer trim on the upper part of the shield. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our final base coat, which is going to be some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to use this to paint in all the remaining details. So we've got the little bits of trim on the inside of the shield. Like that bit there. We've got the sword hilt as well. that large skull in the middle of his breastplate. So with that done, we've got all of our base coats on our Marshall, so it's time to add some shades. Now the first one we're going to add is some Carroburg Crimson, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the red. And that's going to include the Blood Angels red, the Baal Red, and those are our only two reds. So with that Carroburg Crimson applied, what we're then going to do is take some Drakenhof Nightshade, and we're going to use this to shade our plate armour and the sword. And with that Drakenhof Nightshade all applied, we're then going to take some Targor Rageshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the remaining metallics, so all of the Iron Warriors and all of the gold. And with that done, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of the hair and the beard, add a little bit more age to him. And finally, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to apply this over the top of the skin. Again, just want to add a little bit more age to him, a bit more depth. So with that done, the Marshal is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty awesome. However, we're not going to leave him there. We're going to take him to the next level, and then we're going to work on that Relic Envoy as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding some highlights here. And the first one we're going to add is some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. We're going to use this to highlight the cape. And we're going to use this to highlight the wood on the shield. So with all that Evil Sunz Scarlet now applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Bestigor Flesh. I'm going to use this to do two different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to fully highlight all of our Gryph-Hound Orange. Just like that sort of thing. And then what we're also going to do with this is we're going to use this to add some really tiny little highlights to the wood of the shield, and we're going to use this to spot highlight the red cape. So for example, down here on the shield, come at it like that sort of thing. And then on the cape, what we're looking to do is we're looking to pick out the sharpest features of the cape. So we're looking for areas like this little corner down here. You just want to bring that up a little bit. Just use your thumb a little bit just to smooth that out if you need to. We've got the little corners that are the kind of covering up the armor plates. There's capes draped over. Really, it's anywhere that you want to absolutely just catch the light. So for example, this one here, just want to bring that out just a little bit more. Just like that sort of thing. So with that Bestigor Flesh applied to all the red and all the orange, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to add a little spot highlight to the orange. But whilst we're using the Flayed One Flesh, we might as well highlight his face as well. So with all of the cloth now done and the wood, what we're going to do, because we've already started, is we're going to work on the face, and we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull here. I'm going to use this to highlight the hair. So with that Screaming Skull applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion, a really small amount of it here. I'm going to apply this over the top of his eyeballs. And with that Black Legion then applied, we then take a teeny tiny little dot of Screaming Skull. And we apply this in the corners of each eyeball. So with that done, the face is now finished. So what we can do is we can move on to all of that black trim. Now the colour we're going to be using for this is some thinned down Administratum Grey, and we're looking for some really fine highlights here. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher once again. I'm going to use this to relayer the plate armour. Just avoiding anywhere where our shade has settled. Just like that sort of thing. And we're going to do the same thing across the flat of the sword blade. So with that Leadbelcher all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the silver, including the ring mail. So with that done, all the silver is now finished. So what we can do is we can take some thinned down Liberator Gold, and we can use this to highlight all the gold. So with that done, all of the gold is now finished. We don't need to do too much to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our next colour, which is going to be some thinned down Cygor Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight all of his leather. So with that done, our Marshall is now finished. So it is time to move on to the Relic Envoy. That's what we're going to do. So the colour we're going to be using first here is some Nazdreg Yellow. I'm going to be applying this over the top of all of the clothes. So with that Nazdreg Yellow all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the boots, the gloves and the belts. So with that Black Legion all applied, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Wyldwood. And we're going to apply this over the top of the Relic. With that done, we've also applied this to the sheath and to this little pouch here on the side. But whilst we're waiting for it to fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Thinned Down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the armour. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the little doors up here and over the top of the trim on the armour, just like we did on the Marshall. So with that done, we've also applied it inside the S on the shoulder, over the top of the hair on the head in there, and of course the trim on the chest. And what we're going to do is we're going to now take some Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over the top of this little bit, the sword sheath. Like that. We're going to apply this over the top of the skull, up here. Like that, and we're also going to apply this over the top of the hair. And with that done, we're then going to take some Gryph-Hound Grey. I'm going to apply this over the top of the head. And with that Gryph-Hound Grey applied, we're then going to take some Dark Angel's Green. I'm going to apply this over the leaves, just here. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh. We're going to apply this over top of the face. So with that Guilliman Flesh now applied, we're going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of the sword sheath where we've done the brown. Like that. We're going to apply this over this little bottom panel just here, and we're going to apply this in and around the S. Like that. And I'm going to apply this over the string. And with that done, our final base coat is to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and apply this over the top of all of the remaining details. So with that done, just before we shade it, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. Now this is entirely optional. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little checkerboard just down here. So we're going to start by drawing a line, come straight down, like that. I'm going to come over the other end and draw another line. It comes straight down like so, and then I'm going to do two more, coming across like that, and like that. Then we're going to get one more coming across like so, and then we're just going to colour them in here, and here, and there, and at the top. Just like that. So with that done, it's now time to add those shades, and the first one's going to be some Seraphim Sepia. I'm going to apply this over the top of all the yellow. And with that done, we're then going to take some Targor Rageshade and apply this over top of all the silver. So with that done, it's now time to add some highlights to our Relic Envoy. And the first one is going to be some thinned down Ungor Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight the coat. So with that Ungor Flesh then applied, we're then going to take Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to add some little tiny spot highlights to the sharpest points on all the cloth, but also on the face. So with that done, the cloth is all finished, and just like on the Marshall, seeing as we've started the face, we might as well finish it. So exactly the same as the Marshall, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of the eyeballs. And so with that done, we then take a tiny little bit of Screaming Skull. I'm going to apply this in the corners of the eyeballs. And we're going to highlight the hair. So with that now done, we can move on to the next colour, which is going to be all of the black leather details. And the colour we're going to be using to highlight these is some thinned down Eshin Grey. And with that Eshin Grey applied, we're then going to take some Dawnstone, and we're just going to apply this to the sharpest points in all that black leather. Continuing the theme of using grey paints, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Administratum Grey here. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our solid black details, just like we did on the Marshall. So we've got the trim, we've got these doors, so with that Administratum Grey all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker. I'm going to use this to highlight the armour, and indeed all the silver details, not just the armour. So with all of that silver now highlighted, we're going to highlight the gold using some Liberator Gold. And finally, just to finish him off, we're going to take some Dark Angel's Green and we're going to apply this over the top of the gem in the hilt of the sword. Just like that.
And so with their bases complete, our Freeguild Marshall and his Relic Envoy are now finished. And I really like this kit. I love how versatile it is off the sprue, all the different options, and one of my favourite things about it is of course that they are both models at rest. They are just viewing the battlefield and they're about to strike. I love it so much. This is my favourite type of model. Of course, I was always going to love this one, 100%. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support me a little bit further, you absolutely can do. Head over to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And you can also become a YouTube channel member, just like this incredible bunch of folks scrolling up on the screen before you. There's a hell of a lot of you, and well, I can't do this without you. YouTube and Patreon, you guys absolutely keep the lights on and make all of this worth it. Thank you so much to all of you for everything you do. And if you really like this video and you just want to shoot me a little thanks, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.